Welcome back all my aspiring pattern makers and my future fashion designers. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this long half circle wrap skirt. Circle skirts comes in various types. You have the double circle skirt, which is also known as a 720 degree, and you have the full circle skirt, which is known as the 360 degree skirt, and there is the half circle skirt, which is the 180 degree skirt. There's also the 3/4 circle skirt, and that would be a 270 degree skirt. When we are talking about the circle skirt, the fullness at the hem is determined by the type of skirt that we are going to make. So for a half circle skirt, the fullness is not going to be as much as a full circle skirt or a double circle skirt. I'm going to take you back to when you were in high school and you dealt with the formula for the circumference of a circle. If you can recall, the circumference of a circle is simply going to be C equal 2 pi r, or sometimes they write it as C equal pi d. I'm going to focus on the formula C equal 2 pi r because we need to find the radius in order to create that circle that we need for that circular skirt. This is for a full circle skirt. We can use this measurement, but because I'm going to be making the pattern for a half circle skirt, then we know that a half of the circumference, which would be C over 2, is equal to 2 pi r, because that would give us a half. But if we look at this formula, all we will realize is that looking at it, we are going to cancel out the 2 that we have there. And so our new formula is going to be C equal pi r. And in order to find the radius of this skirt that we are going to need to make the pattern, we have to divide everything by pi. And once we do that, we will have C over pi equals r, which is the radius. With this formula, we can use it to form the pattern for the half circular skirt. Now the difference is that this skirt that I'm making is going to be a wrapped skirt. So because it's a wrapped skirt, and we know that we have a skirt like this, all right, and we are going to have the back, it's really, because it's a circle, it's going to be looking like that, and we are going to have it where it's going to be wrapped over. So because it's going to be wrapped, we are going to come towards this side front. This would be the side front. For this wrap circle skirt, we will need the back waist, and then we will also need the measurement for the left front waist, and we will also need the measurement for the right front waist. All right, that is from the right side going towards the side front, because remember we're doing the lap there, and on the underneath part you'll have a lap piece showing like that. So let's start out with a waist measurement of 25 inches, and please don't use my measurement if that is not your waist. If that's your waist, then yes, you can use this measurement, but this is what I'm going to show you. So if we have the waist at 25 inches, then the back waist is simply going to be half of that, 12.5 inches. And what we'll do, because we have the front waist, which will be the 12.5 inches, we are going to go in and take off from that 3 inches. So we will take off 3 inches there, and that will give you 9.5 inches. So we will have 9.5 inches for the front right lap over, and we also have 9.5 inches for the left front wrap under. All right, so because we have this, we also need to add our seam allowance here. I will use a 3/4 inch seam allowance here. You can use a 1/2 inch, is up to you. And I would also add a 3/4 inch seam allowance when you are turning the side, this part here, going down the side front. Then you need a 3/4, because when you fold it under and fold it under, you end up with a 3/8 inch here on the piece. So let's work this out. So this is going to give me 10.25 plus 12.5 plus another 10.25, and let's add all of this up. So the 10 1/4 and the 10 1/4 is going to be a total of 20 1/2 inches. And now we will have 33 inches in total for the waist measurement for the circular half wrap skirt. Now, because our measurement here for the waist, we are going to use 33 1/2 inches and not the 25 1/2 inch, then we can use the formula and apply it to this. So we will have 33 inches divided by pi equal the radius. So one thing I must say to you is that please do not use 3.14 when you are doing your measurement, because that is not the accurate measurement for pi. So as a math teacher, I always tell my students, don't use 3.14. Use the pi button on your calculator. So you can use any scientific calculator, or you can use this TI-84 because it has the pi button here, which is above the up arrow. So in order to get the pi button, notice it's in blue, you'd have to press your shift button here and then your button right here for your pi. So if the measurement for our waist we said is 33, we are going to hit the 33, divide, which is the symbol divide, second function, the up arrow for the pi, enter, and you will notice on your calculator you have 10.504. So we're just going to round it off to 10.5. So we have the 10.5 here equal R for the radius. Now, if you don't have a scientific calculator and if you have a cell phone, I'm going to show you what to do when you have the cell phone. So on your cell phone, you will have your phone like this. And if you don't see the pi button, you can do one of two things. You can turn your phone this way. Sometimes it works for some phone. You turn it this way and you get the pi button symbol or the scientific part. Or on my phone, if you hit here, you will see basic, scientific, and the other math notes. You just need the scientific because we are not doing the basic. So now you will notice that you have your pi button, which is right here. This is your pi button. So on your phone now, you can plug in your 33 here, divided by, and the pi button right there. See the symbol? And you hit enter, equal, and voila. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily, oh, how am I going to calculate this? I just showed you what to do. Once you have the radius, which is 10.5, you can determine the length that you're going to make your skirt. And because it's going to be a long skirt, because that's what I'm making, I'm going to choose to make a length of, say, 38 inches long. But before we get to that, you have your 10.5 as your radius. I want to tell you to do something. I want you to take that 10.5 minus a half inch, which is 0.5, for your seam allowance for the waist, okay? So now you're going to have 10 inches. So this is what you're going to do, and I want to show you this trick. So you have your pattern paper here, right? And you will go from here 10 inches down and also 10 inches on the other side. So what you will do, if you are working with a radius that is less than 6 inches, you can use this compass. If you're not working with a measurement that's less than 6 inches, then I would suggest that you use a piece of string that is attached to a pencil or a marker, and you will also use a thumbtack and you would put it right here, and then you will swing that. As I said before, if you are working with something that is less than the 6 inches, you can just place the pointer of your compass right here. You extend it to your desired radius and you just swing it like this. All right, and then you would create your circle, and then from here all you will do is measure the length that you need for your skirt from here, whatever length it is, and you put a mark right here. And say for instance I'm using this and I'm doing this. You can do one of two things. You can go from here all along with that same measurement and just simply go around like this, right? And you will continue. Or you can simply go back to the center of the circle, which is here. And then what you'll do with this, if that's the center right there, you can place your finger there, go around, see, pretty much catching the same thing, and you would continue around to get your desired measurement. Since this is a wrap skirt, right, you don't have to keep the same length at the self edge, because you would make this be the fold. And so because of that, and you're doing a wrap skirt at the front, you can come up a few inches. 2 to 4 inches is fine, or you can keep it as is if you want it to be the same, and then you would taper it to the desired length around. So you can do that, but don't go too far in, because at the side seam you want it to be about the same. So figure this is about the side seam, then you would make sure that this still continues around, and then you taper to nothing up here. So now that we determined that we are going to go down 10 inches from here to find the radius, and we will place a thumbtack there on your paper, and you just swing that arc. This would be now a quarter circle you would get, not a semicircle. But because it's on a fold, when you open it, it's going to be a semicircle, or what we call it a half circle, which is 180 degrees. You are ready now to lay out your pattern. So this is what the pattern piece look like for the skirt. This would be the straight edge that you would fold under 3/8 of an inch twice, and then you fold along here. So now you're ready to lay out the fabric to cut the skirt. There is a trick to this. If you want your skirt to have the proper fullness, notice that when you have this fabric, say for instance, this is the self edge of the fabric here, right? 2 self edges, and this is the entire length. For this long wrap half circular skirt, I would suggest that you need the minimum 2 3/4 yards of fabric for that. That's if you are doing a 38 inches in the length of the skirt. If you're doing more, then you need more. If you're doing, say, a 41-inch length of the skirt, remember now your radius that you have, which was 10 inches, and the length. So if you're doing a 41-inch length, 41 plus the 10, that's going to give you 51. So you need twice this amount. So twice this amount, right, would be 51 times 2. That would be 102 inches. So not only that, either way, 51 inches is almost 1.5 yards. So you know that you will need at least 3 yards of fabric if you are doing a desired length of the skirt of 41 inches. Okay? Now for the waistband, it is easy and simple. Because the waist is 25 inches, so you have here, remember we had it's a wrap, and it's actually going to be 33 inches minus the 1.5 inches for the seam allowance at the side. So it's 31.5 inch total. That's your waistband for the wrap. Plus, for the small side to the left hand side, you need just 15 to 20 inches there for the strap. So let's say 20 inches. So you do 20 inches here. And then for the other part on the right hand side that is going to go around the back of the skirt, you are going to make that half of your skirt waist, which would be the 12.5. And then I would add another, say, 15 or 20 inches. I say 15 inches here. Or you can even round it and just call this 15 inches then, because you need the 3 inches that we took off from the side. So this would be 15 plus 15, 30. All right, and we add it over here. And this would be 81.5 inches. So your waistband should be 81.5 inches long by 3.5 inches wide, because the finished width from the 3.5 inches wide is going to give you simply 1 1/4, because when you fold this in two, you're going to get 1 3/4, and this you're going to have 1/2 inch seam allowance on either side. So that's why the finished width should be 1 1/4 inch for your waistband. You will have an opening on the waistband on the right hand side at the side seam so you can loop through the waistband, the long part, so it wraps around your waist, and then you can tie it with the other end at the left hand side. So that's your pattern for the waistband. In terms of laying out the fabric, say this is your fabric, which is say 3 yards you bought, right? This is your 3 yards. This is what you're going to do. You are going to open out your fabric like this. And this is where the trick is. So once you open out your fabric like this, right, this would be your 60-inch width fabric. And please do not use a 45-inch width fabric for this pattern, because you will be missing length right here. This is going to be your 54 or your 60-inch width fabric. This is going to be the length of the fabric. You open it like this, right, with right side looking up at you. And then what you're going to do, you are going to fold it like this. So now that 3 yards of fabric is going to be 1.5 yards, that is 54 inches right here, by your 60-inch width. Or if you use a 54-inch width, it would be by 54. And 54 by 54, wow, that's the actual total square right there. So you have that. All you need to do, turn it around like this. That's your fabric. And then you would lay your pattern piece where you have the fold right here, place on fold, right? And you have this edge right here. So this is your fold, okay? This is your fold right here. And you lay it on there like that. And you will cut around here, and then your desired length. All right, you're coming up, or if you're not going to come up, you cut it to where the same length is as here. So you are going to cut around here and all around, and that would be your actual skirt that you cut out. In terms of sewing it, you will sew this edge first, right? Fold it twice, 3/8 of an inch, sew along there, and then you can attach your waistband to the waist. And after that, you can do your hem, or if you choose, you can do the hem first, finish off your hem first, then finish off the waistband. But please remember, find the side seam of the waistband on the right hand side, and you're going to leave a space right there for an opening to loop the other string for the extension of the waistband through to secure it when you're making the wrap skirt. And that will keep it on the body, so you won't have one side just drooping down and then nothing is holding it up. So you don't want to do that. This is what the skirt looks like when it is finished. We'll notice that it doesn't have a lot of fullness towards the hem of the skirt, because it is a half circle skirt pattern that was used. If you want more fullness, then you can create the pattern for a full circle skirt, and you can use that. Then it will be a full circular wrap skirt. So in conclusion, now that you know how to create the pattern for this half circular long wrap skirt, I hope that you will give it a shot. Go ahead, create the pattern of your own and make one and wear it well. You can make it out of a cotton fabric, you can make it out of a challis fabric, or you can even make it out of a silk charmeuse, or it could even be out of a lightweight knit. Please give it a try and wear it well. So with that being said, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like button also. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with others around the world so they too can go ahead and make a long half circular wrap skirt just like this, and make it in various colors and wear it anywhere they want to go. And also, guess what? You don't have to make it in a long skirt. You can make it in a 3/4 skirt, or you can make it in a short skirt. Just remember, if you want a half circle, it has to be simply the circumference of the waist, divided by pi. If you want a full circle where you have more fullness, then you're simply going to divide that by 2 pi. Thank you for watching and see you soon on the next video to come. Bye now. Cheers.